Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Bellibolt in the Open Great League. This Pokemon just got released here and we're going to of course take a look immediately at what this Pokemon can do. We're going to run a full electric type moveset here with Thunder Shock, the Discharge as well as the Zap Cannon. And we're going to have a more, I don't know, like spicier, less bulky team here with the Pelipper mainly for all the ground type Pokemon, which you completely get screwed over by, as well as you're going to have some kind of answer with that against grass type Pokemon, which was kind of important. Otherwise, I thought of using Jellicent in the lead, but again, Jellicent would struggle a lot against all the grass type Pokemon, which you cannot hit with your Bellibolt either, so that's the main reason for it. And then we're going to have a Say-Swap here, the Vigoroth. I had first a different Say-Swap, Steelix, Shadow Steelix before, but I kind of felt like I was always stuck in those matchups and I kind of want to have something more dynamic. And I really like the Vigoroth. Like, Vigoroth was a lot of fun to play. Most likely my favorite Pokemon out of this team in terms of what it was doing, so definitely also an underrated Pokemon for the Open Great League. But today, of course, we're going to take a look mainly at the Bellibolt. Bellibolt is actually fairly bulky, which is kind of cool. As you're going to see here, the super effective move from the opponent's Alolan Sandslash, the Drill Run, coming through does not knock us out, and we can still even survive that. We can maybe even go for 2 charge moves, which you're going to see here. Discharge, we're going to charge there very fast, thanks to our Thunder Shock, so we only need 5 fast moves to get to a Discharge. And then, of course, for the odd occasion, we're going to have the Zap Cannon, which can hit for quite a lot of damage, and that's going to happen definitely quite often as well. Here, we're going to have to hope that we can still survive 1 charge move plus 1 fast move, and we're going to be able to do this. So this is going to be a 1 HP win, but it's going to be a win because our Pelipper is going to be kind of fine here. So good game for the first game here, and let's move on to the second game. Moving on, we're going to have another Sandslash in the lead. We didn't really got like that many great leads here either, so it's kind of something where we have to fight back. And look at this lag here, by the way. You see me getting next to no fast moves in, which was also really great. So good there. Game is still working as expected. Of course, yeah, like those games I played just now. Like, I haven't really played a lot of Go Battle League recently because I was away. But now we're gonna go back here and we can see how this game going to function. It's not really functioning that well. But luckily we were able to realign. Also, we got rid of the Lantern. It's the opponent still going to have that Charizard in the back. I will be able to keep a move here stored as they're gonna go back into the Sandslash. Of course, I know that they have the Sandslash, and I expect that they're going to use a shield here soon against a Weather Ball from me, because they still have 2 shields left. They only have a very squishy Charizard, and for example, if I would have something like a Lantern in the back, which I of course don't here with my Bellibolt, they might want to keep this one, but no. They decide to just, yeah, let their Sandslash go down. I can still go for a charge move here, get the shield from the opponent's Charizard, still get the charge move out here with my Vigoroth as well, while forcing them to throw, which is so amazing for me, honestly. Like, there's nothing that could have been better here for me. They still have a ton of energy, so I kind of forced to guess here, but actually I don't, because the opponent decides to just go ahead and go up to a 5 fast move, which is all it takes for me to go for Discharge, and that's going to be it for this game, knocking out the opponent's Charizard with my Bellibolt. Moving on, let's take a look what the next opponent is going to run here. Another great lead for us with the Lantern, as you're gonna see the opponent swapping into their Steelix. I saw that quite often, like the opponent going to be able to win this, I think, in the 1-0 shield scenario for them, so like they have to use an extra shield, but they're going to be able to do enough damage with their fast move plus their charge move against me that I don't really want to use a shield here, because I know that they would be able to get, yeah, most likely still the switch advantage there, so I decided to let this move go through, but still getting an advantage, plus also getting a ton of energy here onto my Lantern might be very decent. You see me over farming back quite a bit here. Don't really care too much about the health of my Lantern, of my Pelipper, because I know that the opponent's Lantern is going to be aligned to my one anyway. So now we're gonna see the final Pokemon being the Dugong here. And what we can do is we can use our Bellibolt to A, get some damage onto them, but also B, if the opponent is going to use a shield here, we're going to have a different kind of strategy for the late game. And let's see what the opponent is going to do here. We're going to be able to go for a charge move. It's going to get the shield, which is going to be interesting, because like this, you see the switch clock is not up yet, but it's slowly coming up yet, and so we're going to be able to just stay in for this matchup, over farming quite a lot and snipe the opponent's Dugong with a Weather Ball of my Pelipper, which is of course really good for me, as they're going to still have the Lantern in the back, and this would have done basically no damage. And I still can go for the Hurricane, thanks to them being the Water Gun variant, doing a decent amount of damage, and just barely enough damage to go for the Zap Cannon, of course, the big boom coming through here, and going to one-shot the opponent's Lantern. Good game there. Moving on to the next game, we're going to encounter a Carbink in the lead. Again, honestly, like, I lost nearly every lead with this team, or like with the Pelipper, which is kind of interesting because there are a lot of matchups that you would be able to win. For example, Swampert, for example, Clodsire, Pokemon that you really often actually see here in the current meta, but still, we're gonna get kind of hardware there, and of course, with Medicham as a say-sub, it's not really ideal for us either, especially if they're gonna get a ton of energy here. And as you're going to see, the opponent gonna go for an Ice Punch, which is fine for us, so at least we can take this one. And I'm not even going to use a shield because we get hardwalled in the lead. I kind of don't really want to keep too much here onto my Pelipper, because Pelipper are going to encounter the Carbink anyway. We can go for a charge move and get them a little bit lower, and now we can swap on to the Bellibolt, as they're going to reveal their final Pokemon being a Pelipper. And Bellibolt going to be able to just go for the discharge and get the knockout immediately here. And I decided to go for the bait. I thought of going for the Zapkin, but I was a little bit, I was thinking it's a little bit too risky. But the opponent going to make a great play and letting this move go through. But it looks like that with the additional damage of Thundershock, I only need one more discharge to knock them out. Of course, the opponent still has 2 shields left, so in total I need 3 discharges, but I don't have to go for any other move. And I tried to catch a move here, did not work out. So does the opponent have enough energy now on their Carbink to get to 2 rock slides? It's going to be a tough one here. I'm going to be at 2 discharge here, but can we win the next CMP? We should be able to, and we will be able to win this game. They were not at 2 rock slides yet, and like this, Bellibolt is sweeping the end game. Moving on, next game coming up, we're going to have finally a decent lead with the Medicham. That's going to be cool for us, but of course the opponent going to still stay in here. It's actually not as great in the Zero Shield scenario, as the opponent would have access to the move Psychic, but they decide to go straight for the Ice Punch, which is really good for me. And they're going to catch the move onto their Lickitung. And this is basically why the Vigoroth is usually so great in the current meta. Vigoroth is literally the hardest answer to the Lickitung, and I feel like also for the play format, I could see an increase in Vigoroth, especially if there's like some certain breakpoints or whatever for this Pokemon. It would be a really solid breaker for the current meta. There are so many Pokemon like the Lickitung, like the Alolan Sandlash, that are like either double weak or single weak to counter, especially from normal type Pokemon. So I feel like that the Vigoroth currently has a lot of play in the current meta, having also coverage from Pokemon like the Lantern with the Bulldoze, as well as, for example, now the Clodsire with the Bulldoze, is really cool. So interesting Pokemon for the future for sure, but here we're going to even be able to go for another charge move against the opponent. And our Bellibolt is actually not even going to hit the field as the opponent decides to forfeit here. Moving on, let's take a look at what the next opponent going to run. We're going to have here a Nidoqueen in the lead. Shadow Nidoqueen is going to be a K-Force. We can go for the Weather Ball against the opponent, and I will get a shield here. By the way, I cut out a few battles as well, like I think 4 battles or something, where I just got completely hardwalled and I quit out after not even a minute. So like if you're wondering, oh, this is only like great battles or whatever, no, but like I don't think it brings really any value to the video if you see me getting completely hard countered and quitting out after a minute. So just want to be clear about this one. I still had some matchups that you don't see in here where I got completely destroyed from like hard counter matchups, and that's fine. Here we're sadly going to see a matchup that I didn't really pay too much attention on the screen, to be fair, and this was kind of something that kind of haunts me now. I should have swapped out immediately into my Bellibolt. I decided to stay in and just try to hope that the opponent going to go straight for the charge move, which they didn't. But now I have like 100 energy on my other Pokemon there, but if I swapped out immediately, I most likely would have got out the Medicham immediately. And I would have had a way better chance here, but like this, we can still see the Zapcan coming through, but I have decided to forfeit this game. Moving on, let's take a look at the next opponent. Steelix in the lead seems to be a solid one, but it's actually kinda neutral. It's not that great for you either, but the opponent decides to use a shield, which is kinda fine for me. And here's the thing. I cannot allow the opponent to align their Steelix against my Bellibolt, because Bellibolt, of course, cannot do anything against any kind of ground-type Pokemon. So what we're going to do here is we're going to stay in. I'm going to let this move go through. I think I still survive, and I can still go for a move here with just a 1 HP left, which is kind of nice for me. But I was not able to swap out. I had to basically sacrifice my lead, and I have to hope that they don't have a Medicham in the back, because Medicham in the back right now would be a little bit of a tough one. But let's see what they're going to actually run. They're going to run the Pelipper as well as the Serperior. And we just going to go straight for the Zapcan here, because of course we don't really have coverage for this Pokemon. It only learns electric type charge moves. But sadly, as you can see there, we didn't get the debuff. And this actually matters quite a bit, I think, because now the opponent going to get me into a range where I'm gonna go down to just 1 Frenzy Plant, which I would have never done before. And also, this is most likely the most unfortunate matchup of them all. Let's take a look at this. Discharge comes through, we're gonna get the shield. You see on the right side, the switch clock was just barely not up. I had to go for the charge move. They survive with exactly 1 HP. Like, if I just knocked them out, the game would have been over. Like, literally over immediately. They're going to have the Pelipper in the back. I can go for 1 body slam here. And I still should be able to outspeed the opponent to another body slam before they can go for a Hurricane. And it turns out that the opponent is, of course, going to be able to completely survive exactly at 1 HP again. So, IVs, I guess, do matter, but it was really unfortunate. Literally, if I just got like 1 debuff there with the Zapkin, I would have been most likely fine for this entire matchup, but I guess it wasn't really in my favor there. Like, I definitely had higher odds of winning this game than losing this game, but there were still odds for them to win this game, and I guess they took that, so a good game there, but honestly, losing twice to 1 HP plus no debuff from a move that debuffs to 66% is kind of sad, but here I'm going to be able to just go ahead and go for a Hurricane against the opponent's Medicham, and we see the Quagsire coming in. So they're not running something like a Lantern in the back, so I can just stay in here. They're going to go ahead and most likely go for the Stone Edge to knock me out, which is fine. I'm going to let this move go through, and I'm going to swap out into my Vigoroth. I cannot align, of course, the Ground type against my Electric type Pokemon, but sadly, the opponent has 2 Ground type Pokemon, so that is going to be a little bit of an issue here, right? So, I'm going to be able to use a shield here. It's going to be a Scorching Sands. The most I'm just going to go for another Scorching Sands afterwards, but I was not counting their moves, like, at all. So, they're going to be able to go for another one here, and they're going to get the attack drop. Of course, they're going to get the attack drop, but I didn't get it in the last game. But it's fine. We're going to be able still to knock them out here. But I'm forced to swap out into my Bellibolt, and I just have to hope that the opponent does not know my moveset and either uses a shield here or goes for the immediate knockout. And this is exactly what they're going to go for. They're going to try to just knock me out immediately and lose all their energy, allowing me to just go into my Vigoroth, going for the body spam here, and this should be all it takes to knock them out. 1 more fast move is all it needs here, and we're going to be able to win this game. Moving on to the second to last game for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, I'm always trying to deliver those early videos for new releases. Last time for the Clodsire, I was not able to because I was away, but of course I already made a video about this one as well yesterday night, to be fair, so definitely check that one out if you haven't already. I can just go ahead and go for the Boulders here again. Same matchup as before. We're going to have another Shadow Steelix against us. Breaking Swipe comes through, and we can swap back into our Pelipper. We're going to do basically the same as before, but this time around, actually, I'm going to be able to just go for the Weather Ball in time, which is going to get the knock. Oh, never mind. It's going to get the final shield from the opponent. I'm totally fine with that. They're going to go for the Breaking Swipe. I decide to keep my Pelipper a little bit healthier because I feel like that they're going to be weak against me in the back. And it turns out that I was totally correct with this, because as we're going to see here, they're going to go actually into their Clodsire, which is going to be amazing for me. They're going to Snow Swap out, trying to catch the move onto their Shadow Gyarados, and I will get to another Discharge. This is going to get, of course, the instant knockout against the opponent, and they're still forced to go for an Earthquake basically against my Bellibolt. Bellibolt is a bulky boy, so we can just keep even, like, we would still be able to survive a Sludge Bomb or anything like this. And the opponent decides to go up to like 200 energy at this point. Like, honestly, they went for so many fast moves here. It's so wild. But here we're going to see them going for their charge move now. And I will be able to swap out now afterwards. As you can see on the right side, the switch hook is coming up. I can go for the 2 Weather Balls I've stored up before. And like this, without the debuff anymore, I can just go for the knockout against the opponent. And we should be able to just win this game with our Pelipper and some very nice playing around the opponent's backline there. Next opponent, final opponent for today, we're going to have a great lead for us. It's going to be the Medicham, and you're going to see the swap out into the Sableye. And I am most likely kind of screwing this game up for myself, and I kind of should play it a little bit differently for the future. I will be able to just stay in here against the opponent with my Vigoroth. Vigoroth can take the fast move fairly easily, and yeah, I should have thrown 1 fast move earlier, because with this, the opponent knows that they can realign if they want to. They're going to have to use 2 shields for that, but they can realign. And this can be a big issue for me, and it most likely will be a big issue for me, because they're very likely going to have a very decent answer for the Pelipper in the back if they kind of want to realign like this. And I don't know if there's kind of a V-spread or whatever where I would still be able to survive the opponent's moves there if I had a little bit less attack or something on my Vigoroth, but it's kind of unfortunate because I'm still gonna have to get hit by the foul play from the opponent. I can go ahead and go into my Pelipper, and they're going to have the Dugong in the back, sadly, to counter my swap there. So It's going to be a little bit of a tough one. We're going to see me going for the Hurricane. The opponent doesn't even go for a charge move yet, and I can even go for a Weather Ball, which is kind of awkward. But as you're going to see here, they're going to have a ton of energy, and they decide to use a shield here. I know that they have 2 moves stored, but if I don't use a shield, they're going to knock me out and get the debuff onto my Bellibolt. And like this, at least I can avoid the debuff onto my Bellibolt, but I have some energy stored now. And I have to hope that I can get the debuff from the Zap Cannon to maybe still win the game with a big boom here. Let's see. Boom, gonna do a ton of damage. You're gonna get the attack drop. This should only be the Ice Punch. Can we still survive? We can actually, and I think if I had better IVs, I would have been able to win this final game. But that's going to be it for today's video. Check out the videos on the screen, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.